I want to thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate your attendance. This is a Friday afternoon, and I know that there are other things that you would much rather be doing than listen to me flap my gums. So I really appreciate that you're here today. If you would please in the chat put in your name and where you're, well, I'll see your name in that. So you don't need to do that, but where you're from, where you're calling in from, and your email, that would be awesome. Because we will have homework and I will be trying to get in touch with you afterwards. So I'll go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen here. All right. So you should be able to see my PowerPoint. So can you see it?
Yes,
Is it okay?
yes, yes.
Awesome.
Yep, it's
Awesome.
good.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for coming today. We're talking about identifying your ideal client and then how to talk directly to them. I thought we would start the day with a story, just a quick story. So, this is Linda. Linda loves to bake for her friends, and all of her friends have told her over and over again, you need to start selling this. You need to open a bakery. You need to sell these things because they are amazing. So she does that. She does exactly that. She opens her bakery, and guess what? Nobody comes, or not as many people as she had hoped. So does that kind of sound familiar? You open your doors and then there's no response whatsoever. So one day, a friend had come into her bakery, and they're talking, and Linda is talking to we'll call her Kathy. Linda's talking to Kathy about, I thought that everybody wanted a bakery, that everybody would want to come in here and buy my pies and my cakes and my cookies and my bread. And Kathy's like, "Well, what kind of marketing are you doing?" And she's like, "Well, I have uh advertisement out in a local paper. I put signs up in a window. I've got a website that lists all of what I offer and my hours." And Kathy's like, "So take a step back. Who are you focusing on? Who are your clients?" And Linda's like, "Well, everybody wants a bakery. Everybody wants to buy cookies and everybody." And and Kathy's like, "That's not how it works. You've got to figure out who it is that you're attracting, who it is who are your clients, the people who want to come in." And in their discussions, Linda discovered that she should probably focus in on or on families, young families, looking for ways to feed their family something fun, something nutritious, uh, but they don't have the time to make those things themselves. So she changes things up. She starts to focus directly on places where families hang out. And lo and behold, she ends up with a nice long line of people, and they come in and they buy her stuff, and she's a wonderful success. So I think that the first thing we need to clarify is that you can't fall into the everyone trap. That saying that you appeal to everyone and that you're going to talk to everyone is about like saying you're talking to no one. So the tough love truth is if you're talking to everyone, you're really reaching no one. General messages get lost. We are all bombarded with noise all day, every day. Doesn't matter where we are, in our cars, at our desks, with our phones. There's always a message. There's always some sort of um, a notification coming through on our phones. And so we are bombarded by messages. And unless it's a message that we can specifically identify as something that appeals directly to us, we tend to ignore everything else. So you have got to go out into the marketplace and figure out who it is you're talking to. Your message, when you talk to your ideal client, your message resonates deeply with them. You attract the people who are ready to say yes, and it makes your marketing more effective. So, how do you decide who is your ideal client? Well, you can make some assumptions, absolutely, but probably some of the first places to start are who is the most fun person you deal with right now? If you think about your clients, this might be something that you might want to break out a piece of paper or start typing somewhere else on your computer. But who is the person you love to deal with? Because if it's someone you love to deal with, it's probably someone who you click with, someone who you have the same values as they do, you communicate similarly. It's probably the person you need to talk to. Another thing to think about is why did you start your business to begin with? Was it, I'm going to guess that it was probably because there was a service or a product that you needed, that you wanted, that you couldn't find someplace else, or you thought you could offer something that was better than what was out there. So your ideal client could also be you only 5 years ago. You before you found the product or service that you were looking for. So, in order to help identify your ideal client, I would suggest that you jot down characteristics of this person. Um, and some people may think that that's really limiting to themselves when they think of one person, but you can develop different personas for different messages and different aspects of your business. But it it really helps you dial down and really helps you figure out who you're talking to when you can develop. You've got a name, you know about how old this person is, you know what kind of education this person has. Does this person have a blue collar or a white collar job? Are they married, are they single, are young or old? uh, those are the characteristics that will help you figure out how best to develop a message for your ideal client. Now, the key is don't overthink it. Don't sit and think, oh, they've got to be 45 years old and I want men who sit behind a desk all day. Um, that might be who your ideal client is, but you can also be thinking in terms of what are their values. In order to figure out the types of people you want to work with, you have to figure out your own values. What do you value? What's important to you? And then how you relate to other people based on their values. So, uh, I was going to try to make up an example, but I, I I can't really do that right now because there's just so many different options. So you just need to start writing down a list of the demographic makeup of your ideal client, the psychographic makeup of your ideal client, and then you need to start thinking about what their pain points, what their problems are, what are they trying to solve? And then what are their aspirations? Who do they want to become after they take advantage of the service or the product that you offer? Now, what's the difference between demographics and psychographics? Okay, demographics, age, where they live, what their income is, what their education is, the type of job that they have. Do they have children? Do they not have children? Do they live in urban areas or rural areas? Those are demographics. The psychographics are more related to what are their interests. So if they live in a rural area, does that mean that they maybe have animals? Maybe they have chickens. Maybe they have horses. Their values. Maybe they value being out. They value nature. They value the earth. Their lifestyle choices. They want to have a garden. They become closer to the land. My mom just could not wait until she got her hands in the dirt every spring. That was a lifestyle choice. So that's the difference between demographics and psychographics. And they're all things that you want to consider when you start thinking about who your ideal client is. Now, when we go back to Linda, whoops, go back to Linda, she had a messaging transformation. She started out as I make delicious treats for everybody, um, which really doesn't appeal to anyone because everyone loves sweets. Everyone loves something that's homemade, but not everyone is going to want to come in and buy things from her bakery. So then she targeted her message. I provide quick, healthy, family-friendly desserts and meals for busy parents. It's ready made. You come in, I sell you the sourdough bread that was baked today that you're going to use tonight when you fix sandwiches for your family. So the result is she developed a connection with those folks. She developed a relationship. So rather than her business being solely transactional, it became relational, where she had a relationship. She developed a rapport with the people who were coming into her store. Now, one of the things I suggest to people when they do start thinking about how they're going to tell their story, how they're going to get out there and talk to their clients is they need to charm their clients, all right? So their messaging has to be clear. Clarity sells, confusion, when you confuse, you lose. A confused buyer never buys. So your message needs to be clear. It needs to be heartfelt. Sometimes you need to get a little vulnerable, but you need to make your message come from you, make it authentic. So I'm not going to bash AI, but a lot of people will say that they've turned all their marketing over to AI. They just go to Chat GPT, put in a prompt, that's what they're going to put out there, which I will say can work for some people, but that human element isn't in there. So you got to make your message clear. It's got to be heartfelt. You have to inspire some sort of action with your clients. So um, let's say they go to your website and your buttons are learn more or get started. Um, That is not clear. That is not something that tells your client exactly what to do next. I had someone suggest that get a button that says get started on your website is a lot like going to a cocktail party and walking up to someone you've never met before and just get started. You're not going to introduce yourself. You're not going to try to develop a rapport with them. You just get started or learn more about me. That's not the way to talk to people when you first meet them. So when you first meet them, you want to inspire action. Buy now, schedule a call, visit the store. Any of those things are better than learn more. So you want to be clear, you want to be heartfelt, you want to inspire action, you want to make sure that what you say is relatable to the people you're talking to. So let's say that you have a garden store and you're talking to your clients about how, for some reason, you're talking to your clients about uh, inside plants and uh, s- something, some sort of a exotic plant that you have. If that person isn't interested in exotic plants, it's not relatable to them. But you've got a garden store, so you can talk to this person about the different seeds that you have available, the seed starter kits that you have. You can talk to them about the best time to transplant, when not to plant seeds outside in the spring. What temperature does the soil need to be before you start planting seeds? So make your message relatable. And then the last thing, M, is memorable. A lot of people aren't going to remember my name, but they're going to remember some of the stories that I've talked about. Karen was asking me about my sons when she came on, about when they're coming home. They're out in Utah and they spent the winter out in Utah because they are dog mushers. Yes, my boys are dog mushers. So you're not going to remember my name, but you'll probably remember that, hey, that lady's sons are dog mushers. How weird is that? So charm your clients. Be clear, be heartfelt, inspire action, be relatable, and make sure that your story is memorable. So I want to move on into the whole messaging side of things now, but I just want to remind you to put in the chat where you're calling in from and your email address and what you do. That would be a wonderful thing for me to know. So I've got this three-step messaging formula. First of all, you have to acknowledge the struggle that your clients have. People aren't going to buy people don't necessarily buy your product or your service. They buy the outcome that you promise. And that's based on the problem that they're experiencing. And this relates back to the hero's journey, that story structure of the hero's journey, that your hero experiences some sort of a problem, and then someone steps in as a guide to say, "I've done this before. Let me show you how to get to the other side of your problem." And so when you acknowledge someone's struggle, you do a couple of things. One, you show them that you are interested. You show them that you care about what happens to them, and you show them that you maybe have gone through that same struggle and you can help them get to the other side of it. So you have to acknowledge your client's struggle. Next, paint a desired outcome. So I'm going to use landscaping as an example. Someone comes to you and they want a landscaping plan. They aren't necessarily buying a landscaping plan. What they're buying from you is curb appeal. They're buying freedom because they want to have a beautiful front of their home, vision of their home, but they just don't have the time to do it. They're buying beauty from you. They're buying color. So you acknowledge that, so you want to have perfect, wonderful home curb appeal. You want to have your house to look a certain way. Here's the outcome that am suggesting to you. This is what I think your house will look like when we're done. And then you go through the solution. This is the process that we go through. So first of all, I'll visit your house. I'll take some pictures. I'll submit to you a plan, and we will go through and approve that plan, and then we'll implement that plan. Really simple three-step process. Uh, so your process might be much more involved than that, but more than 3 steps is difficult for people to remember. And so if you can break it down into 3 steps, and then each one of those steps maybe has 3 steps, break it down so that it's a lot easier for your client to follow along, then you'll be able to talk a little bit better, create a better message to them. So when I talk about speaking your client's language, the most important thing that you need to do as a service or a service provider or as a salesperson or as a business owner is to listen. So I've got a friend who says that he has up on his computer monitor a post-it note, and it just says WAIT, wait. And that stands for why am I talking? So if you find yourself as you're talking to your clients, you are talking more than they are, you need to wait. Ask yourself, why am I talking? You need to ask your client open ended questions so that they can tell you, talk to you about what their problem is and describe the emotions that they feel and what their hopes and wishes are, what they want to aspire to become. And then you mirror that back to them. Oh, so you really, really want a home that has color for the entire growing season. Um, you want plants that you don't have to plant every year that will come up at year after year. You want something that it has low maintenance but still looks beautiful. So you're mirroring their terms to them. Then address their emotions. So, how does it make you feel when you stand in front of your house and you see this beautiful landscape? Tell me how that feels for you. A lot of times we want to talk about features, the features that our service or our products offer. People don't buy based on features. They buy based on benefits. And benefits are more of what they get out of the product or service that you offer. So if you're trying to sell a Ram 1500 pickup, Dodge Ram 1500 pickup truck, as someone first comes into your showroom, they're really not all that interested in the size of the engine, the pulling torque, the size of the tires, the size of the bed. They want to know, will this truck pull my family camper up into the hills of Virginia, West Virginia? That's the benefit. Yes, this truck will pull your family camper, your pull behind will pull your camper into the hills of West Virginia. Um, After they make that decision to buy, people make their decisions to buy based on emotions. But after they make that decision, they've got to have logical reasons for why they made that decision. That's when the features come into place. Oh, okay. So it will pull my camper. Tell me, what's the largest camper it will pull? What kind of torque? And I am not a mechanic, so I'm not saying this right, I am sure. But what kind of torque does it have? What size engine does it have? Will it be able to pull my toy hauler? Will it be able to pull my horse trailer? uh, those are the types of things that they're going to want. Then you kind of have to test and refine. You you figure out, you talk to someone, figure out what it is that works and what doesn't work, and the next time around, you learn from what you've learned from your conversations before. Um, so how do you find clients? There, that's probably one of the biggest questions business owners have. Where do I get my leads? How do I get my leads? First, I would talk to your current clients. So did I deliver the service that you wanted? Oh yeah, absolutely. Would you write a Google review for me? Here's the link. All you got to do is just go to this link, write a review. Or I've got a friend who has a program where he will record my clients talking to me about giving me a testimonial. Would you visit this website and uh, record a testimonial for me there? Do you have anyone else that you know who wants the same thing that I provided for you? Would you point them in my direction? Would you just refer me to them? Talk to your current clients. Then go into your analytics, and that is if you've got an email list, your website, you should be able to go in and see where your website visitors are coming from. How long are they staying on your website? Do they come in and then drop off after just a few seconds? um, there's a lot that you can learn based on how long someone stays on your site and what pages they visit. So it might be worth taking a few minutes, half an hour to an hour once a week just to review those analytics. Where did people come from? How long did they stay here? What pages did they visit? And then you can figure out how to revise or revamp your website or do something that seems to work on other pages of your site. The next thing is just market research. Find out where your people gather. If you do online virtual work, then it might be worth trying to figure out where where those people hang out. Do they hang out on LinkedIn? Do they hang out on Facebook? Are they most likely to be watching TikTok? Are they Pinterest? Are they Pinterest folks? And then that's where you hang out. Um, those are just a few ways to find leads. There are also lead generators that you can create. There are networking organizations that you can join. Um, I will caution you, those networking organizations are probably not necessarily for you to find your ideal client, but you will find your ideal referral partners there. So you will find people at those networking events who also serve your client, who might be able to refer their clients to you, and then you reciprocate with your clients for them. So, some common questions. Doesn't isn't it when I narrow down, doesn't that limit my business? And actually, I think you'll find that your business will increase when you talk to the people in your tribe, when you reach the right people, they're the folks who are going to spend money with you. Um, what if you have multiple clients? Well, figure out multiple personas. uh, do your research on the people who come in and buy fresh bread versus the people who come in and buy cookies. They might be two totally different clients, two totally different audiences. Uh, and take the time to figure out who each one of those clients is. So, how often do you revisit your client profile? I, I, this suggests quarterly. Um, I would say anytime you change what you offer, you need to figure out again if you're serving the same person you were serving with your previous offer. And then how do you know if your messaging is working? That's when you go to those analytics. of all, you're going to have more people on your website. You're going to have more people interacting with your posts on LinkedIn and Facebook and any other social media that you use. You're going to have more conversions through emails. Um, you'll be able to ask your clients, did that email resonate with you? Uh, what could I have done differently? So there's just uh, don't be afraid to talk to your clients because they're the ones who trust you. They're the ones who have come to you. They're the ones who are spending money with you. You trust them enough to ask them their opinion of what works and what doesn't work with them. So where do you go from here? All right. First, figure out your ideal client profile. Then craft a message that speaks directly to them. Then you test that message and you go back and refine. Now, I've got something that I will offer to all of you. Let me go to this last slide here, though. I've created a Facebook group called Your Biz Marketing Hub, and that is available to any business owner who comes in and has marketing questions. There's no cost involved. It's a free public Facebook group. It might be something depending on how things go that I might turn into a private group in the future. But right now it's out there. Go join that group. And when you have questions, you have concerns, pop in um, and ask your questions. And the cool thing about that is it's not just me who will be answering questions. Other business owners who have experienced what you're asking about will be able to tell you how they handled certain things. The other thing, I do have a workbook and I will place it in the chat. I will let me put the file in the chat there. It's a workbook where you can actually go through and take notes and as you identify the demographics and the psychographics of your audience, your ideal audience, you'll be able to go in and figure out different messages that you might be able to try. And this is where I get to the homework that I said something about earlier. um, I want to come back and I want us to go over this workbook with each other. I want you to come back in 2 weeks, April 4th. We'll come back here at this same spot, tailor-made Zoom room, 3 p.m. Eastern, and we'll go through and answer any questions that you had as you went through the workbook. Um, uh, Talk a little bit about where you could have gotten some other information. Talk a bit some about how to come up with a different message or uh, throw around what the message is that you came up with and come up with some alternatives or even in all likelihood say that's awesome, that's a great message, that's something you should be using in your on your website. But I'd really like for us to come back together again um, on April 4th and talk about this. Now, what I will do, there were several people who registered and other people who said that they were interested in this. So I will contact those folks. I will send them a link to our recording, and I will also send them a copy of the workbook, and they also will be invited to come back on April 4th to go through what the workbook and how you found it, what you thought it, if you thought it was worthwhile or not, and then go from there. So I'm open to questions now, comments, anything that you have to say. If there's anything else that I can answer for you or concerns that you might have, now's the time to lay them out there.
Um, Hi. I just turned myself
Hi.
on. I just want to say the personas. I have a document with multiple personas, and I don't do anything without using one of those. And
Awesome.
And so I have some different customer groups. And like you said, depending on who I'm marketing to, what the piece is, it's like, okay, where's their mindset right now? And it can be, and it's honestly
Right.
just for like touch base emails with parents. Like, oh, right now the deadlines are approaching. Mom is probably freaked out, kind of things. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I do nothing without those, and it just gives so much clarity. And have little pictures
Awesome.
of
I thank you
people.
so Yeah, thank you for putting that in the chat, explaining what you do. Because I mean, you've got nonprofit uh, executives, you've got school guidance counselors, you've got
Mhm.
college guide counselors,
Consultants, yeah, yeah,
not just yeah, not just students, not just their parents. There's so
yeah.
many different things, focuses that you have. Um, and that's wonderful. It
And
sounds
what
wonderful that you've
the
already
best
set up.
description I ever heard for this kind of thing, I don't know if you ever saw or listened to S Town, Shit Town, an amazing hysterical podcast, like absolutely incredible. I heard the guy who created it, and he said that you have to pick one person, and you talk to one person, like you said, and everyone like kind of like that person has the experience of you're talking to them. Everyone who's
Right.
not has the experiences of their eavesdropping on a love letter, but it's not to
Oh,
them.
that's a good point.
And
Yeah,
that's like,
yeah.
oh, and then the other one is if you're not pissing people off in your marketing, you're not doing a good job. I don't fully go all the way
Right,
there.
right.
But
The whole
that like
the whole point
yeah,
of your yeah, the whole point of your marketing is to attract people who are your people and to repel the people who aren't.
yeah. And I asked people, did this sound like I wrote it for you? And they said, yeah, it was weird. It sounded like you wrote it directly for me. And so that's my test.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. Well, I am so glad you shared that. Thank you so much, Barack. Is there anything else?
I really appreciated your acronym WAIT. Why am I talking?
I
Because I
had
think
somebody
it's
else who said the acronym could also be WASTE. Why am I still talking? Yeah, so why am I talking? Why am I still talking?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good question to ask because it's easy for me to get caught up in what I get passionate about, what I, have available or something, and it's just yeah, why am I still talking?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
asking questions or not,
Right.
targeting
Right.
the right people or whatever. And I just wanted to ask you, what was the name of the Facebook group again? I saw,
It's
caught it and then it
called
was gone.
Your Biz Marketing
Okay,
Hub.
okay,
Here, let me
Can you
put
put the
I'll
link in?
put the link here. Yeah.
thank you.
And I just created it yesterday.
Okay.
And it didn't do the hub part as the link. So let me put it in again.
Oh,
So
okay.
it looks really rough because at 9 o'clock last night I'm like, I need to create a Facebook group because this would be really, really cool for people just to come in here and ask questions. And so yeah. So eventually, as time goes on over the weekend, I'm hoping that I'll be able to get in there and make it look um, a little bit more professional. So
Okay.
of course it's not going to make the link, but that's it.
Yeah, okay. Okay. And what is the graphic that would show up when it shows up? What kind of graphic do
Oh,
you have?
it just shows up with the generic group
Okay.
um uh yeah, background
Okay.
that Facebook has because I didn't create a background. That's this
Perfect.
weekend's opportunity.
There you go. There you go. I
All
got it.
right.
So
All right.
you now have two members.
Awesome. Yay.
You
All right.
doubled your
Awesome.
size. You doubled your size.
Wonderful. Wonderful. That's 100% jump in just
There you go.
5 minutes. Um,
That's a win.
well, I really hope that I see you again on April 4th. I think it would be very valuable for all of us just to share our experiences and to share the messages we come up with and how we decided to focus on certain people. But I will be sending out an email, probably not today, but tomorrow, with the link to our recording. And then I'll also include a download of the workbook again. And if you've got any questions or need anything in the meantime, um, you just get a hold of me, whether through LinkedIn or email or however. Karen, I see you 5 days a week, so we should be pretty easy to get in touch with each other. So,
I've been wanting to reconnect.
if there's
so
not, if there's, if there, nobody else has any questions, I'd say you've got 10 minutes back in your day.
I'll take it.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Susie.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Susie.
you. I so appreciate you, and you guys take care of yourselves. I'll see ya.
Have a
Thanks.
great weekend.
Bye.
All right. You too.